Sabre mede Honorable Kennedy Akompreko Japan ene Anas Aremeyaw Anas wo mo nsem ene eba beso mo na sesi ane de na chese Anas ne lawyers de nsem no nyina abebegu apaso de ekoso e wo court nsem a ekoso ba gani ane nyina ekoso nyina no na ma won so waso atibi e wo efie ha esa sesi ane de na Honorable Kennedy Akompreko Japan ne lawyers wo mo kopie mu e wo court no na akoko hia se wo mo esre entiso se ebra na Anas ne lawyers ehye yesenko wo mu ntua eye 30 million US dollars na wo mo teswa de bepie mu e wo 18 million US dollars na Honorable Kennedy Akompreko Japan ne lawyers so esre entiso se wo mo e ma no 10,000 US dollars ensam no ekokodo so mempese me ka ne bebre emomu wakasa no wotie bi e wo waso a ebetimi aboa na mebo modern na mede nsam no mfo se ne Kevin Taylor ebisebisa ne lawyer nsam na wotimi edibegu ho no mede nyina nso ebebesom ntimesrew na obekaye a somewhere 2022 na sankomo we eba so ema Honorable Kennedy Akompreko Japan woni dada Fred wo mo twetwe nkomo a Honorable ekoka ne se sisi ane de Anas no ye widinin Anas wo hye eye Ameswale ni woyi asibi Anas ekoku Chinese fo bi Anas ayesei enemu ene wotabri nsam no edibepie mu ewo Ghana court na Ghana court no kokodi asem no na chese yebua Anas yembu amfa ma Anas edi4 ewo ho eno na Anas wo no wonti ase da ewo se Honorable Kennedy Akompreko Japan wotimi approve abra no woku obi abra woku Chinese fo abra wo soma we abra wo ye widini count ne de ene makomako enum ni nyina lawyer no ede beba a mempese be kasa pi Honorable Ken Akompreko Japan sisi ano ne nsem ene da paso enti ye ka de a na mesrew so nso be we waso amaso bi eka obehu kwan abefa so a wono nso no obetimi akyeremu meka mo se outlet 1 ene eso mase enti mesrew so be fa mo number na wonu mu edi enkaso bom se bia na opese wutu kwan ede ko Finland UK Canada ene eye enkonkro bebre na emom no ehia ho akohia se wo tron so hwe bia ansade a na meka fo outlet 1 ede ama wo bomoden se wonu mu ebedi enkaso bom na wade sua na opese wusua no nso no etimi aboa yenko tie Anas Aremeyaw Anas ne lawyer ensema wodi etudwa ya mabiem dia subscribe like share na emo adwenkyere nso enelso ewe videos makram.
To make it easy for us, we are one of the lawyers for Anas, and I want to state again, Udini Evans Selassie Adika, renowned lawyer. Bepacho, can you run us through how it started and how we got to know today, say, a judgment in the New Jersey court?
Okay, Mr. P. You know, the interesting thing is, I quite remember that you were sued in the U.S. sometime in 2021.
Yes.
And that actually caused my clients to begin inquiring about possibly if there's if there was anything out there, whether it will be actionable in the U.S. Mm. So you have some significance to today's events. So shortly after, when you were going through your motion to dismiss, we actually took a keen interest in that case and reviewed all the pleadings. Mm. And during that time also, my client informed me of a video that was circulating on social media. I just say, "Yeah, papa, no, and someone just like what kind of about my client." So, like, you know, as the intellectuals that we are, we started opening the books and try to see where we can lay a claim. And so, interesting enough, I mean, after reviewing the video, I you know, in our training, there's something that we are taught. So, in your case, a case, no, it has to pass the test, and the case has to stand on all fours, which means that you do an analysis of whether there's jurisdiction in place, whether you have all the elements of each claim that you want to bring, you know. So we went through all of that, and my conclusion was yes, on the basis of video now, my client is send them, you know. You tweet back court New Jersey. Yes, and say, yeah, papa no video no so yeah, papa na add and the new some say or kase free fee New Jersey. Now when him say you move for so no the diaspora is very important. Obviously, what you do is testament to that fact. And you know, there was an audience that he spoke to. We're Ghana for. they all take a keen interest in the happenings in Ghana, especially the politics in Ghana. So we thought, there was solid grounds for us to be in the court in New Jersey. So I advised my clients accordingly. Now, I wouldn't say, a lawyer. So obviously, he was an integral part of what was going on in the preparatory stage. At that time, I am a U.S. trained lawyer, but I currently only practice in Ghana. And there was a team of us. I'd like to say congratulations to my learned colleague Odette Crow. He was a part of yes, he was counsel of record in Ghana. So I pulled him into the research, and we drafted a complaint. And like Mekaya a lawyer, so we did the work, and he actually filed it himself. So after the preliminary back and forth, initially the case was we sued in 2022.
Okay. Yes.
We filed suit sometime, I think. The complaint. Yeah, sometime, I think, in the summer of 2022.
May 17th, 2022.
Yes. And by law, there was a period by which Yapapano Anka was or responded with what is known as an answer. But so Yapapano filed a response, and my case no call into default. Now, after a period of default, you can actually go for judgment. Now, a case near Fale, we filed on 3 counts. But I couldn't say a chrome or a chrome 4. The second one was or you would in terms of Onuna or behind the medal of Yenuya Ahmed Swale.
Yeah.
Now, the third one, so say Yenuya a serial killer in terms of Woku Chinese will be Brebi Ghana. And then the fourth one is or a criminal. The blanket word criminal. And then the fifth one by implication, say behind Woody Sembiana, that means say Abiana no a trigger man and also no will be and I say perform the physical act that led to the foreseeable events, which is Obi a. So we also included a count that he is that he claims that my client a co-conspirator in multiple serial killings. So that was basically the gravamen of our complaint. And when it went undefended after the response time, now we began to make preparations to move for judgment. But being that I was in Ghana and we are all based in Ghana, we reached within our network and we partnered with 2 brilliant lawyers who I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate. Atawemaga Esquire, he was the father figure of the team of lawyers, and a brilliant trial lawyer by the name of Andrew Dehere. These are all brilliant Ghanaian lawyers on this case. And at that point, we recruited them as counsel of record, and the case went. At that point, Kennedy's lawyers came in, obviously because near Beji judgment for the full $30 million. And so he had counsel, and counsel came and also did his thing. Reopen default, they argued that they had a solid defense, and I think right around then, and I almost got judgments from Ghana, almost really see it. And I don't know, so say almost defense to a case I follow New Jersey.
We knew Ghana, so case no
exactly.
It's only a case. Okay.
So as defense against, but the interesting thing is that the defamation sits here, say, kind of they the work for court. It's a separate case.
Yeah.
It's not to mean Ghana and family defending way. You still have to prove the truth of it. And this time, in this jurisdiction, the law is the same essentially because Ghana but you sound so free other countries. There are certain times that even though any of presidential value, I just said, dead into me, so India, but to me, the two na senior or the two especially in cases maybe you decided that type of a case. And Emrano is the same as Ghana. procedurally, there are certain nuances. Sometimes in terms of certain dates, you have to do certain things by. And also in New Jersey, Emra drafted complaints. We were fully aware that we were required to prove what we were claiming by a higher standard than in Ghana.
Yeah.
Yes, in this case, and not even that. In this case, we were required to prove our case not by the normal civil standard, but by a clear and convincing evidence standard. Okay. And they responded with that, and they were able to successfully reopen the default, which paved way for them to file an answer. And they filed an answer which essentially claimed that there was some sort of back and forth between him and Anas. And, we took it for what it's worth, and we forged on. And we finally got our trial date sometime earlier this year, and it was postponed. And then we finally went to trial last Monday. We started trial on Monday, and we put up our case. My client testified. He testified. He brought other witnesses. And after listening to both sides, the difference between what happened with Ghana and Johannes said, trial by jury. It's and judge, or judge back one I say judge me, no one I say judge me and send a video seminar. But normal people on the streets of New Jersey, tax-paying citizens, and a twin from. So as part of the defense, I think it's only fair that a charges counts now the buy and the civil claims now the buy. His defense was also although Oka said it was some sort of just based banter between him and Uniano, he came to court and accepted truth as his defense. And so
time I court say sa counting na mode bono no say one Anas back and forth, right? The only claim of making or say banter I just say we can wait internet and share or no they not all can say obi to be more almost tomorrow.
But all you do court media that was not
and yes I know kind ura court no G2
yeah be or maintaining the position say no can or that who standing by no kind.
Okay.
Basically remember just or practice no crane di no onye boni bia.
Okay.
So to support that or the move you try your internet to who watches a watchman. But they are also by as only defense, and so the jury had the opportunity to evaluate that and factored that in the analysis. And obviously, it was not the weight that they wanted the jury to accord to it. So jury never bugui. And about 20 minutes later, the jury came back with a verdict, and there were a multiplicity of very quick. And there was a multiplicity of questions that were posed to the jury. That's the way how they arrived at the decision. It's and also unanimous. People who were picked off the streets of not picked off the streets of New Jersey, but they're from based on address, voter registration data. And but within 20 minutes, they saw through everything and said no. So they came back and there was not even one juror that sided with Yapapana Samuel.
All against
8-0 on every count and on every question that was posed to the jury, including damages now about no and also crown. There was a unanimous decision. I just say it was a solid decision of the jury. 20 minutes on there was no doubt in our presentation to what you're kind of lay people. These are not experts in the law.
Yeah, they are just
these are lay people
who just sat and use their common sense to come to a conclusion.
No. I will not say use their common sense.
They listen to you and they listen to the other part. It makes sense though.
And then the law is the law. No judge in this world has any power to bend the law. That sort of conduct is what causes strife and war in places. Yeah. America had the judge actually before the judge ever kind jury instruction, but catch jurors and say, oh no, Only to be a assassin na you won't call between say or camera actual match and that's how it went. But you know what's interesting about Nisi and you know or a lawyer ni contrary even though people don't give him credit for that.
At least Bonidina Anas asem na working.
But Anas, Anas. Or also a very astute lawyer, Onimumrapa, new beer, your dream. And some people walk cry a car on Jim Tumu, but sometimes a team of legal team to we come to a compromise. Now, he has been adamant about clearing his name because I have a personal experience of understanding. It's one of the worst things that can happen to someone.
Yeah.
And he absolutely took the position there. He wanted a trial. He's not interested in any settlement. He's not here for the money. He's here to clear his good name that he has built over time. And in his profession, at this time, and also started doing one. So he always maintained that he wanted a trial to the point where sometimes there was a disagreement in the legal team. Now, procedurally, America, peace. Schedule say, and from this time to this time, staff that work out we are dedicating it to your case. It's no small matter.
I know. I've been there. It's not easy.
Before they will go to trial, there's mandatory settlement conference. I bet say at this maybe by this time we'll be say grow or they'll commit to the right census and decide say this shouldn't go on because yes. And I acquire unfortunately me and Anas disagreed with me, but I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million, just like the jury came back. As you know, these days we have all kind of tools that we can use to predict certain things.
Before you go ahead, this is where the contention is, and people saying 80 million, others saying a year 30 million. Now when you read,
well, we'll come to that. Let me clarify. Let me just clarify. Yeah. Okay, complaints the coin. Yeah, claim for $30 million, $30 million.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And what I'm saying is that at the before the mandatory settlement conference, or before the jury is empaneled, even though my client had firmly informed me he had no intention of settling this case because he believes that he ought to go to a jury of his peers to clear his name. But maybe let's just prepare our settlement memorandum, be thorough and be reasonable.
Yeah.
And even though he protested, I prepared a settlement memorandum that sought to settle this case for $18 million US. Okay. Now you do settlement conference, about court. Now the lawyers just say what he was willing to settle this matter for, and they said $10,000. So honestly,
it's clarification is very, very important. Normally Ghana.
Okay.
Into Mukodru Hono. Anas initially, you have kind of simple street language, and the damages are not paid around $30 million. And while
yes,
client and Anas Kasa say a woman saw $30 million, and yes, he can't all pay. In fact, he wants his name to be cleared, and then any priority of going to court.
Yes,
but because of the experience, now unim sibi anyo matiano, no client here Anas Kasa and say it will be better and to be reasonable to at least settle on $80 million. And I'll say, no client and us, you did not really agree, but because he respects you as his counsel and as a lawyer, you people ended up around that money, around that figure, which is $80 million.
Oh, yes, and like I said, your lawyer at Awemega, New York, and also come home. And Andrew D here.
Yeah, you are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Wemega is there.
Yes,
D here is there. Crow is there. Yourself. Basically, as we are speaking to, we are speaking to all of them because.
Yes. So, the whole team agreed on that, but he was the only reluctant one in settling the matter. But But procedurally, we couldn't go to trial without actually going through to the settlement conference.
Yes.
In spite of his reservations, we still almost cut our demand down to about a little over half.
Okay.
But to our surprise, Papa buy and also no bet $10,000 to end the case.
No.
I want to arbitrator now who said no, some way I'm sure so I can kind papers, So he said basically go and take your gamble in the courtroom. So that's how we ended up going to trial. So like to go back to how it ended, So at about 4:50 on Thursday. And the jury brought us in and they told us what unanimously what they had arrived at. But, we decided to keep it under wraps because, there was a component there, you multiply 18 million by 5, money do 90 million for a total of about...
That was the plan.
Yeah, that was the plan. Yeah. Because to
do that. Okay.
Yes. And then you decided to say back to your board with coming public with the finding of culpability on Thursday.
Yeah.
We ended up leaving that alone. A pursuit of ×5 because almost file emotions be I just say or see a two boss now in terms of that and sana say one way or another I go back I could pursue that ×5 and I say depending on what happens, maybe I bet me German or Cassie. But at this time, almost my court no say almost busa into swore.
Okay. So at this point, my court who say ombeba 80 million or almost pentiswo. How many days do they have to file that?
Okay. So at this point, the next thing that's going to happen is that there's going to be a paper. A judgment. I just say court reading seal better so.
Yeah.
That would take a few days, and then after that, I believe there's a 5-day rule that's within which you can file that motion. So a bay motion, matese bin mukasa appeal by nya appeal depending on how that motion goes.
Okay.
We would get a chance. We may get a chance to attempt to get our ×5 of that 18 million, or a big jam and a So depending on how that motion goes.
So for now,
yes.
18, Obintiminka said that is the end of the case. It depends.
No, it's not because hypothetically, we still have the opportunity to go for ×5.
That is 50. Okay. Now let's go back and watch.
Okay, so the court's decision, as we start at the end, the court is denying the request for this trial, and everyone can file motions at the appropriate time, and the court will address everything after the motions are filed appropriately and then responded appropriately. Does anyone have any questions about anything? Okay. Good luck to everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming on.
So there's one thing you need to take notice of. Anas was still wearing nose mask in court. But over Ghana, judge to meet says Anas saying nose mask na yendi. You see the difference. You see how our judiciary in Ghana. How bad some of our judges are. The judge sitting in that courtroom in New Jersey is looking at the facts and evidence before him. How you dress to court is up to you. It is your presentation in court, how the jury will see you. Whether you wear a nose mask or not, at the end of the day, it is your case, the substantive case, your evidence is what they are looking at. Because they are dealing with the law. They are not looking at individuals. And the law itself is blind. It does not look at faces, background, economically where you are coming from, or financial, or whatever. It's looking at the case, the law. They are applying it. So whether somebody is dread, whether somebody is wearing a nose mask, whether somebody is wearing a face shield, what is more important to the jury and the judge is that look at the evidence before you. Look at it and apply the law and let's see. But don't say, Senya Omubu Asemgu Anas so Ghana was that it wasn't the substantive issue Anas had brought to court. Anna trying to defend himself. In Ghana, the Edibuati Anas say yes, nose mask be Anna face mask be. Say Anas say yeah. That means Anas is guilty. This is where we are as a nation. Judge to me tonight say because of face mask, nose mask, because I want you to look in a certain way in my court. You know, if you don't look that way, I am going to call you a criminal. I am going to label you a criminal. That is the danger in our judiciary. And that is what we need to look at. Are we looking at a substantive case that is before us as judges, as judiciary, or we are looking at the characters or the individuals standing before us? And when you go to Ghana, the judiciary today look at the people involved in the case than the case itself.